Hello everyone, how are you doing today? My name is Uncle Big Bay and you are welcome to today's session. And I'm really happy to be doing this with you guys. So today we are going to be talking about W3 School. And before we start, I want you to, if you could, let me know in the comment section if you can actually hear me very well before I go. Okay. All right. Okay, nice. All right. So, what is W3 School? W3 School is a place that is very, very popular to everyone. If you are a developer, you'd have heard of W3 School before. So, W3 School is an online school where you get to learn how to write code, and you can also um, purchase some paid courses, watch online tutorials. So today I'm just going to be showing you the features that you can um, features that can be very helpful to you as a developer, aspiring developer, or even if you are a pro developer. So this is W3 School landing page. This is very new, and I'm very much happy, more than happy to show you guys what they have in store for you guys. So as you can see, they have the try me section whereby you get to try out your code directly from their browser. You see, they have JavaScript courses, Python, SQL, anything you want to learn in programming, you can actually find them here. Okay, and they also teach you how to use Excel, machine learning, Google Sheets, artificial intelligence, and so on. So nothing is actually stopping you from learning how to code or adding more skills to your current skill set. So the most interesting part of W3 School that I really love is that they give you an online editor whereby you can write your HTML, CSS, JavaScript code, and then you get to display them directly from your browser. And also for the backend people, you can actually still write your Python, PHP online. So if you don't have a PC whereby you to write your code, you can still make use of your mobile phone to get this done. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So you can see color picker, and yes, most of us don't actually know that you can actually code directly from your you can play game directly on W3 School. So you can play a code game. You can play a code game whereby you are going to be using code to direct a bot on W3 School. Okay, so you can also do some exercise, do some quiz, and also the most interesting part of it is you also have access to free templates that you can actually use for your personal project or use for your client. So it is totally free until you are ready to just opt in for um, paid plans. So W3 School also has a shop whereby you can shop for that hoodies, t-shirts, mug, or any other thing that you want to purchase. So that's pretty cool. Going straight, I'm just going to show you what we want to do today, which is the W3 School Spaces. So W3 School Spaces is an online website whereby you get to write your code, your HTML code, CSS code, JavaScript code, and then host it online. So you get to write your code directly from your browser, from their website, and then you publish it. You host it without even using Git or GitHub. Okay. So let me quickly look at the comment section. Okay. So you can hear me loud and clear. That's nice. All right, so going back to W3 School Spaces, so you get to um, write your code online, as you can see, code editor directly from your browser. So if you don't have access to a PC and you are an aspiring developer, you can't avoid the PC. You can write your code directly online from your phone and then host it, then share the URL to anybody. You can also purchase a custom URL to anybody. I'm going to be showing you how shortly. So you get to have templates, free templates that you are going to that you can use, and I'm going to show you how you can do that. And one interesting feature they just added is file manager. So you get to create multiple files for different projects in your space. So and you get to also experiment. So it's just what I've been saying, that you can write your code online, experiment things, then preview them before you now push it to production. Okay. So they also provide you with a playground. I've shown you earlier the try it section whereby you get to play with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay. So this is how it works. So if you go to the Aladi page, you are going to see it, and you get to learn more better from it. So when you sign up, so if you already have an account with W3 School and maybe you are using it to learn, you don't have to register again for Spaces. You can just log in directly with your login details, email, and password, and you are ready to go. And also, the most interesting part of it, because W3 School are always intentional when it comes to helping beginners to learn new skills. So you can either use the free plan, which is just $0 per month, and you have 100 MB storage, which is more than enough for you for your personal portfolio, for your mini project, to host it, share it with your network on LinkedIn, put it on your portfolio, or do anything like that. And you also have 100 MB data per month, which is also very nice. If you don't have a larger audience as a beginner, and you have 500 requests per month, which is very, very awesome. It's still better. Okay. And you have a subdomain with W3 School so that people can actually access it. And it is very secure. It is going to have an SSL certificate, which means that your website is going to have this log button, is going to be secured. So it's going to be trusted by people. So I have a lot of things to share with you today, and I'm really happy you guys are here because I know you are going to learn from this. So if you want to upgrade, you can upgrade with $0.99. So for Nigeria people, what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to see the conversion and see and show you how much that is in Nigeria. So you can see 400 naira per month. That's how much. 400 naira per month just for you to increase the number of requests to from 500 to 2,500. So you can see that W3 School are always intentional when it comes to helping beginners to learn new things and make use of their resources. So and when you do that, you don't have any ads, just like on the free plan. So you can also check other plans, and you can avoid the premium. It is always recommended so that you have unlimited access. Okay, so enough of talking. Let's get straight to starting up. So when you get to W3 School Spaces, www.w3schoolspaces.com/spaces, you click on sign up, and then you enter your email address. So I have a new email address which I just created because I already have an account. So I'm just going to write it, Uncle Big Bay, this with Uncle Big Bay. Okay, gmail.com, and my password is okay. I won't spell that out. Okay, yeah. So I'm just going to sign up. Then I'm going to write my name and also my last name. So I like putting my name like this, then continue. So you just let the system do its thing, and you are going to receive a mail in your an email on the registered email address. So I think that should arrive any moment from now. And while we wait for that, W3 School, when you are making use of it, you have access to all of their free resources. Like when you go to the W3 School main site, you can go to tutorials, learn a lot of things that you want to learn. You see, web building, how to create a website, templates. You can check web statistics, how people are actually using the web, what is their favorite browser. So this can also help you to get updated as a developer, so you know what is actually going on. So you can learn a lot of things. You can see what you can learn. So data analytics, server side, JavaScript, web building, programming, HTML, CSS. So anyone you want to learn, and my favorite part is this reference. So if I want to pick any reference, I can just go there. Maybe I want to know more about HTML tag. Then I can come here. You can see a lot of things you want to learn. Okay, maybe you want to pick this, you can pick the form, learn more about the form. You can see all these tags. Maybe you just want to refresh your brain as a developer on the HTML form tag. So I think our mail has arrived, so I can verify my account from here. So let's wait for the system. Okay, cool. So I am verified now, so we can continue to log in. So I'm just going to log in with the same credentials that I used, and I have a new space. So the system is just going to load and then give you some tips on how to get started. So what you can do is you can choose to take a tutorial, take some quiz, take some exercise, and look at the subject that they have on their websites. You see, if you want to learn about accessibility, cybersecurity, SaaS for front-end developer, ASP backend, statistics, React for front-end developer. That's what I use. Node.js is very cool. I also do Node.js. So because this is a new account, you can see that we have 0 point here. But immediately you start learning with W3 School, you are going to see your point here, and you can keep track of it any moment you want. Okay, so let's head to W3 School Spaces. So W3 School Spaces, this is the website, and I can get started for free from here. So you can see I have two options. So they are going to give you two options. Do you want to start with a template, or you want to start with a blank page? So the difference between them is W3 School is going to provide you with a free template that you can actually use for your website creation. So you don't have to write from scratch. And one of the speakers yesterday said, as an aspiring developer, you don't actually have to start writing your code from scratch. You can make use of resources. You can make use of all these templates that we have out there. So that will make your work faster. So you can concentrate more on the logic of that particular project you want to do. But it actually depends on what you want to create. Maybe you want to focus on front end. That means you have to like write some code from scratch a little bit, but you don't have to do that all the time. But for today, we are going to go with templates. So I'm going to show you the available templates they have. Amazing templates. You can see these amazing template. But today, because we are building a food website, we'll just look for something that does with food. Okay, my food. So we'll just pick these and continue. So another interesting part is where you get to choose your URL. So this is your URL, is the link that you are going to give to your audience to visit so they can see what you built. Maybe you build a new portfolio. This is where you are going to set the URL www.yoururl.com slash W3 School. So for today, I'm just going to say Uncle Big Bay Shop. Okay, Uncle Big Bay Shop. All right. Since we are building food, I'll do Uncle Big Bay Food Shop. Okay. So and I think that is available. Then I can click on continue. Oh, the character cannot be more than 20. I think okay, I'll just use shop. Okay, so that is checked. So I'll just click on continue. So my space is being set up, and when it is done, you are going to have this. This is your dashboard where you get to start writing your code. Okay, so you can actually have more than a single space. You can still create another one, or choose to upgrade your account, or you want to get another domain, which is what we call custom domain. So to get the domain, you just have to click the domain, check if your domain is available, then purchase it, and then W3 School is going to help you and do everything, and people can actually visit your custom domain. Okay, so this is my own URL. So I'm going to click on it. So let's see what we have there by default. So you can see this is the template I selected during the setup. So if I drop this link, let me drop this link in the comment section. Uh, Okay, so I've got the link in the comment section so you can actually visit it, so you can see how fast it is. So within just few clicks of button, my site is already up and you guys can actually visit it. So let's now go and see the code that is making this to show all the images, text, the code behind this. Let's go and check it out. So you can see amazing templates, cool nav bar. It is very responsive, and okay, so you just have to click on the name of this Uncle Big Bishop, not the link below. Click on the name and it's going to show you the code. So as you can see, we have a couple of files here, and you can see this was created a minute ago when I signed up. So these are all the images you are seeing, and this is your index.html, which is the entry file of your project, which is the root file of your project. Okay, so and I don't think we actually have any CSS file here. and I'm going to be showing you the reason why W3 School is more cool, because they also have their own CSS framework. Okay, so just click on the file that you want to edit. In my own case, I want to edit my HTML file. So this is it. So this is my HTML file. This is the code behind all this design that W3 School has given to me. So I just want to go through the code. So as you can see, there's no CSS file in the head tag except for the basic font family and then some little padding to the blocks. So this website, the template are being made with W3 CSS. So W3 CSS is a CSS framework that you can actually use to produce like awesome templates for your website. So you can use it to design and develop templates or any of your project. I've actually worked with it within a week that I took it serious. I was able to produce up to 6 to 7 templates like since I've learned it. So and it's very, very awesome. I'm going to be showing you um as we go on. So what we want to do today is we want to actually just see how we can use an API. We are going to fetch all this data from an API using the browser fetch API. So I believe we are like familiar with Ashios, fetch. We've heard of it before. So I'm going to be showing you how you can make use of this on the W3 School Spaces editor. Okay, so this is Spaces. You can see this is their online editor, and one good thing about it is it has some features that is available on VS Code. For instance, now if I want to move things around, I just have to press my hotkey down VS Code, and it's a very useful tips. So you can also uh, use the light mode, dark mode. You can see it's very cool. But I'm going to use the dark mode because it might be too shiny for you guys. Okay. So if you want to learn more about this shortcut, what you just have to do is press F1, and you get to see a lot of the shortcut that you can actually use. And another one cool thing I love about it is assuming you want to capitalize some text in your HTML and your HTML documents. For instance, I'm going to highlight these guys. Then I'll press my F1. Then I want to say transform to uppercase. So you can see the editor transform the text for me to uppercase. So it's very, very fast, because if you want to just change a couple of lines to capital letter or small letter, then you can just do use the short key and do that. So I want to transform back to lowercase, and this is it. So I won't be able to explain more, all of them. So you can see there are many. Just press your F1 key. You can indent, set lines. There's a lot of things that are available here. Okay. So another thing you can do with this is you can have a quick preview of your website before you save it to the production. So this is our production now. So I can click on this preview button, and then you can see that I get to see my template, my website straight up. Okay. So let's proceed to create our JavaScript file. So we are going to fetch our API. But before we do that, I want to show you the API we are going to be using. So the name of the API I found to be interesting and that I like among all the API that I found is an API called Spoonacular. Okay, I don't know if I got that right, but it seems like Spoonacular. So I think this is their landing page. So they just give you like an array of food recipe with pictures, description, titles, and links to external website that you can actually order the food. So I'm going to be showing you how we are going to achieve that shortly. So this is the authentication, how you get to authenticate your API, because you have to pass in your API key so that it will grant you access to all their informations. So where you can get that is you can sign up. If you sign up from here, you will have your own API key. So I already have my own API key, and I think that is in the applications. Okay, let me check my stats now. Okay, I have to log in. So I already created an account, and this is my dashboard, and they are going to show you your daily quota. So you can see I have make some requests before when I was testing. So I just have to go to my profile and get my API key. So let me quickly copy my API key. You can make use of this, but I'm going to regenerate another one. Okay. So after we get our API key, you can just go to the authentication documentation and check how you can pass it. It is a very cool API to use. So let's go back to our spaces. We don't need our email anymore. We just want to focus on writing our code. Okay, so I can close this guy. If I want, I can delete all these guys I have here, but I don't want to do that. So let's separate our HTML file from our JavaScript file and CSS file. So I can create a new folder and name the folder JS, like the normal way we used to do that. It depends on how you want it. You can create an asset folder, then create your JS and CSS inside of it. It depends on how you want to structure your code. And I want to create my CSS file. We don't actually need to write much CSS, but I will just demonstrate how you can also use your CSS inside of W3 School Spaces. Okay, so now that this is done, we want to go into our JavaScript file. Then I can either drag and drop some files here or upload them. This is like, I really love the idea between spaces. That is the reason why I am actually bringing this to you guys, because I believe it is very helpful to me, and it will surely be helpful to you guys. So this is very nice. So I can choose to create a new file now. This is going to create a new file. So let's just wait. Okay, that is done. So we don't want the new file that's the default name for the file. What we want to call our JavaScript file is we can call it food.js. So this is our food.js file because we are dealing with food. So that's food.js. So I'm just going to rename the file, and then we have our JavaScript file. So to edit this, you can choose to click on this button or just click directly on the name of the folder. So when you click on this, just wait for the editor to load up, and then you can write your code. Let's just write the logic we want. So what we want to do first is, the first thing we want to do is we want to fetch the food from the API, right? So after fetching the food, the next thing we want to do is we want to display the food to the UI, right? So display food to the UI. Okay, so that's what we want to do. So I can save this. And another cool thing I love about spaces, there are a lot of cool things in spaces. I might not be able to cover them here, but when you try it on your own, you are definitely going to find out more. You can just press Ctrl S and it's going to save. So if I come here, you can see this save button has turned to green, which means I have some changes I have not actually saved. So I'm not going to press it. My cursor will just be here. So if I click on Ctrl S, it's just going to change. That is very cool to me, actually. So I can come here. What I want to do is I want to have my index.html in separate editor and have my JS in separate editor. So what I usually do is I can come here and duplicate my tab. Then I can go back here, then open up my index.html file on this particular tab, you can see. And then I can come here, then inside my JS, I can open up my JavaScript file. Okay, so as you can see now, I have my index.html here and my JavaScript file here. So this is really cool. It's just as if I'm still writing it in my normal VS Code, because I can open in various tabs. So the first thing we need to do is fetch this guy. Okay, so to fetch this guy now, we are going to have a function. I'm just going to use the normal function. I'm not going to use our function for anyone that is going to maybe get confused. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have two functions, right? So I'm going to use in the name function in one of the function, then I'm going to use the arrow function in the other. So for this one, I'll just go with the normal function. I can have my normal function here, then use fetch. The name of my the name of my function is going to be fetch food, because that's basically what this function is going to be doing. It's going to fetch all the food that we want to render to the UI. So don't forget that this is what we want to achieve. We want to get this image dynamically from an API, this title, and this description. So that is our aim. That's what we want to achieve. So let's have that at the back of our mind. So going back to our code, fetch code, and we are going to do const URL. We need that because in when you are working with the fetch API, you have to specify the endpoint that you actually want to work with, right? So going back to the API documentation that I was talking about earlier, on this API, you can search for anything, but what we want to do is we want to look for food. We need food because we are dealing with food. So I want to search for all food, and over here, you can see we already have this query here. They've already passed it to us, and this is the expected response. So this is what we are going to get whenever we hit this API. So for you that you are seeing an API for the first time, so this is what an API looks like. It's just like a normal URL that you visit, like www.facebook.com. It's just normal URL, but it's just going to return a different response. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that, then I'll paste it in my URL. So I just paste the endpoint that I need into my URL. But there is something we need to take note, because in the authentication documentation, it was stated that we should always add the API key that we generated from our dashboard. So if you go to your own dashboard, you can actually get your API key. So and once we have this, we need to pass it as a query inside our endpoint. So you can see the way they pass it here. They use comma API equals to, then you paste your API. Okay. So going back to our code now. So this is our endpoint. But because we've actually used like the first query with a question mark, we cannot do another query here. Okay. So what we need to do is we just have to do and. Okay, because we've passed the first query, we don't have to pass another query. What we just need to do is just use and. So it is use this query and this query. So I'm just going to paste my API key here at the back of this place. But normally, what I would have done is I would have just like put this API key in a different file if I actually wanted, if I want to keep it a secret. But because this is a tutorial and I want you guys to actually understand what is going on, I'm just going to keep it here. Okay. So the next thing we want to do now is we want to fetch from this guy. We want to get the response from this guy. So what we want to fetch actually is Apple. So this is the meaning of this endpoint. So this is an endpoint. So we want to get food. So from that food, we want to search for a query. And what a query means is that, okay, you want to, it's just like you going to Google and you saying, okay, give me Apple. Okay, so in this endpoint, we can actually search for something. And what we want to search for, the type of food you actually want to search for is what we call Apple. And this number means that how many Apple do you want? How many Apple do you want this endpoint to actually return to you? So, and we said we only want 2 Apple from this particular endpoint. So that's basically what this means. And this number at the back is just my API key, which is actually going to grant me access to this particular endpoint. Okay, so I can say this is my endpoint URL. Okay, and I will come here and then start writing my fetch. So the syntax for fetch is like this. So one cool thing about spaces is you can see when I started typing, I'm getting some suggestions, right? So you can see it's very cool. It is very friendly, very smooth, and I'm really enjoying it since I've started using it. Okay, so this is fetch, and inside of the fetch, the first parameter you have to give to this is you have to give this your URL. So because I've declared this URL above this fetch in my code, it is also giving me an autocomplete, so which is really cool. So the next thing we want to pass is we need to now pass in an object of whatever we want this API to do, like instance, the method. So you can see the W3 schools editor is very smart enough to identify that uh, fetch has a property called method. So and it's already generating it for me. So you can see it is a method in fetch. So what I want to get is what I want to do here is I will do get, because the method I want to do is I want to get food from this particular endpoint. So that is why I'm going to be using the get method. Okay. So the next thing I'm just going to pass here is the header. Okay, the header. So you can see very smart is bringing it up for me. So this particular header that we have here is going to be an object. So when I mean object, object means the curly bracket in JavaScript. So it's the curly bracket that we have. So we are going to pass in the content type, and we are going to set that to application slash JSON. Okay. So this application slash JSON is coming from the documentation we got from here. So if you read through it, you are going to see the reason we are passing it there. So this header can contain um, multiple items in its headers array objects, because it depends on the structure and what the endpoint is requesting for you to send in your header. But for this particular endpoint you are using, they only require the content type. Okay. So the next thing we are going to do here is we are just going to come here. This particular guy to this point, this guy will just go to this endpoint, fetch our data, and then just like the way I'm saying it. So when you finish fetching this food, then bring the response. Okay, bring the response from the food you went to go and get. Okay, so after getting the food, we now want to convert it to JSON. Okay, so this guy is going to come back with a response, because we specified two here. It's going to come back with two response, and after the response has mounted, after we receive the response in this particular fetch method, then we want to convert it to JSON. So the reason we are converting it to JSON is because uh, the fetch API doesn't actually return the data at the first response. So we have to firstly convert it to JSON, then we can now make use of it in the second then. So now this guy is just going to convert the response to JSON, and then after converting it, what we want to do is we now want to get the converted response. So what we want to do is JSON response. Okay, so this is the normal response from the fetch, and this is the JSON version of it. So what we want to do now is we now want to have access to it. So we just do console.log JSON response. So you guys might be wondering, you are using console.log inside of an online editor. So where are you going to see the console.log? So I'm just going to show you very soon. Don't worry. So the next thing we are going to do is we are just going to invoke this function. We are going to call this function to run. Immediately this file loads. And one more thing we need to do before we go and test is we need to connect this JavaScript file to our HTML file, just like the normal we usually do in HTML and JavaScript. So I'll just come here, then I'm going to do script source, then I'm going to specify the source of that particular JavaScript file, our food.js. So if you go back here let me close this. If we come back here, this is our index.html. So, and this index.html is outside of the JavaScript file. So, which means that we have to go inside of this JavaScript file, then get the food.js. So, to write this in our code, we just have to do /, then write js slash food.js. So, from the current directory, go to the JS file, and inside the JS file, you can go to the food.js. Okay. So I'm just going to close this tag, and save it, and then we are good to go. So I've just put a comment here, JavaScript script. Okay, so I'll just say food JavaScript script. All right. So if you come back here now, we can see that okay, so I think the next thing for us to just go and see is to refresh. So we can just come here, refresh this browser, then just right click anywhere on your browser, then click on inspect. So when you click on your inspect, I think we ran into an error there. Okay. All right. So cool. So you can see we have a response and it's telling me that I am not authorized. So I think I either got the key wrong. Okay, this is wrong. This is wrong. So what I'm expected to do is API key equals to this. Yeah. So API key equals to this. So I have to pass it as a query that the API key that I want to use is this. Okay. So that's what I'm supposed to do. Okay. So let's refresh and hopefully this works. All right. So we have our response now. So the only problem I encountered there was that I did not pass the name of my API key, because when the backend is receiving this guy, it's going to check the query, it's going to pick up the Apple. This query is taking Apple, is also going to look for number and also my API key. But I just passed the API key directly, but I did not give it a name. So it's just like as if I'm setting a variable inside of my URL, but I forgot to do that. So going back here, you can see now that we have our response, and this is where I feel your data structure should come in. So you can see we have an object here. So we have an object as a response, and inside of the object, we have different properties there. So and one of the properties we have is search results, which is actually what we are looking for. So for this search result, what we want to do here is we want to have access to this search result and have access to the recipe, because it is the recipe we want. The way they structure this is you can have access to simple foods, videos of the video of the food, articles. But what we need is the first object, and the first object also has another property which is named as results, which is also an array. Okay, so this array also contains the main result that we are actually looking for. So you can, if you remember that we pass in, you remember that we pass in two numbers, we pass in two as our query, and you can see that we have two objects here. We have the apple cake and we also have the apple crumble. Okay, so I'm just explaining this because when I start to access them in the code, you can have an idea of what I'm trying to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll console log the response JSON, and also just come here and do, from this JSON response there is something we call search results. So that's how we are going to write it in our code: search result. Okay, so we have access to the search result, and now after the search result, what do we have again? Inside of it, we have our first array. So we have to pick that first array, right? So what I'm going to do is I'll just copy this guy again, then I'm going to pick the first array. Remember that our counting starts from 0 in JavaScript, which means that JavaScript is an index, is a zero index. JavaScript is zero index. So counting doesn't start from 1, but it starts from 0. Okay, so we pick the first one here, this 0, and then inside of this 0 we want to pick what we is named there as results. Okay, so this is the main result of our search query that we actually want to get. So what we want to do is we want to copy this guy again, and after copying this, we want to come here and do results. So just give me a second, let me check the comment section to know if there's any question. Okay, all right, so this is amazing. Okay, all right, so I think all is going on well from there. Okay, so we've gotten access to the results, and after we have access to the result, these are the two objects that we want to have access to. So from here now, I think we can refresh again from our browser, then see what we have. Okay, so I think we have, okay, so we have the search results, but this is not what we wanted. we're having on line 13. Okay, cannot read property reading of zero. I think I got that wrong. So search results, pick the first one, line 13. This one responds of search results. Okay, that is search results. That's a spelling error there. Search results. Okay, search results. I feel everything should go well now. All right, cool. So we have our two objects now. This is the main result we are actually looking for. So we have our main result here. So from here now, we have the apple cake, and we also have the apple crumble. Yeah, apple crumble. So we have the apple crumble here. So this is actually the code we are looking for. So this is the way you want to maybe interact with your any endpoint you want to use. You want to firstly get the response, then you start doing the data structure, like how you are going to actually get the data you actually want. So now I can do without this guy. I can just cancel them because I've gotten what I wanted. And so is there any other thing we want to do? No. So this is the two guys we want. So now let's increase our number to, let's say we want to increase it to let's say we want to increase it to like 10 to see how many we are going to get from there. And if I refresh now, you are going to see that I have 10 objects. So the 10 objects I have now, you can see that we have apple cake, we have apple crumble, we have apple pie bars, and a lot of them. So you can see we have 10 here, and we have from 0 to 9. Remember that JavaScript starts counting from 0. So that is why we're having our 0 there. So now let's go back to our code, and then we can write the second function that is going to actually display the food that we've gotten uh, the the UI. Okay, so I'll come here just above this guy, or let me bring this guy down because we have the comment for the function already. Okay, so I'm just going to write my function here, and I will say const. This is going to be an arrow function as I've promised. So the name of this function is going to be display food. Okay, display food. Okay, because what is actually doing is it wants to render food to the UI. So, but I want to use display food because it is more understandable. So this display food now is just going to take in a parameter which is named as food array. Okay, because you know what we are getting from the backend is an array, and we want to make everybody know that this is an array that is being passed here. So we can say array function equals to food array. Okay, food array, and then I can this is just the syntax for arrow function. Just have my arrow function there, then this is my arrow function. Okay, so what I want to do is that I want to go back to my HTML file, then I'm going to pick the container that is actually containing these images, this section. I'm just going to go there, pick the ID or the class name, and I'm going to just render the images there. So I'll just go back here. I'll look for the section where the images are being rendered. Okay, this is the footer. This is the footer. Okay, this is the first photo grid. So what I'm going to do is, okay, it already has an ID. So I can just pick this ID, ID of food, then I can use it in my JavaScript file. Okay. So if you come here now, what we need to do is just to pick the container that is wrapping all the images. So to do this, we just have to do const um, food container. Okay, so I can say document, which means our HTML document dot get element by ID, which means that there is an ID that we want to fetch from our HTML document, and we are going to specify the name here, which is actually food. Okay, so we now have access to that container now. So that is our food container. Okay, so I think I have an error spelling here. It should be food array without the F. Okay, so I can now come here and say that since we've gotten this guy, we now want to, let's do console.log to see if we are actually getting the food array, right? So what we now want to do is, let's see console.log food container. Okay, and then we can actually come here, get the result. Instead of now consider logging this result, what we can do is we can just do const results, the result from the backend. Then we can just put in this JSON response that we are getting. We can just put it inside of this variable, right? So after putting it inside of this variable, we now want to pass it to this particular function, this arrow function we have here. So we now have to come here and do display food, then pass in the results. That's the results of whatever we are getting here. We are passing it into this function. So we are calling this function inside of this function. But there's something I want to show you before I come back to refactor this code. I'm going to hit save now, then go back to the template. Then I'm going to refresh. Okay, so let me refresh. I'll wait a little bit. So you can see what we have here. We have we have 10 response from the backend, which is actually coming from line 21 and 22. So this is the response we are getting from the backend, and also we have our HTML container. So you can see that this is what we have in our UI. So you can see the perfect sandwich. You can see the perfect sandwich. And let me open the second one. You can see as I'm even hovering over on them, you can see they are being highlighted on the browser. So which actually makes sense that we are having access to this HTML documents. Okay, so we're having access to them. So this is pretty cool. This is what we wanted. And now the data that we are passing to the second function, food display, you can see that we are seeing them here. We are actually getting them here. Okay, so now let's go back to our JavaScript code. Now that we have access to this guy, so what next? We have access to this guy. So how do we now put all this file inside all these images, food images, the description, the content? How do we put them in the UI? So the next thing we are going to do is that we are going to have we are going to do a loop. We are going to make use of the loop. So we can make use of the for loop. You've heard of the map. You've heard of the for each. Okay. But for this, I'm just going to make use of the for each loop. Okay. So now what I want to do is um, loop through the food array, right? Then put them in a container. So after looping through them, I want to put all of them in a container. Then I want to send them to the UI. Okay, so this is what I want to do. The first thing is loop through the array. Okay, then I'm going to do something with them, like arrange them. Then I'm going to put them in a container. Then after putting them in a container, I'll now send that container to the backend. So let me just put send the container to the UI, rather to the UI. Okay, I'm going to send them to the UI. That's what I want to do. So the first thing we want to do here is that the container that we want to put them here is going to come here, and we are going to have let's say HTML container. Okay, HTML container, because we are going to be putting like HTML code inside of it. It's just going to be an empty string. Okay, and then we are going to now loop. So you have the choice of using for loop, using for each loop, using map, but what I just want to make use of here is going to be for each. Okay, I'm just going to make use of for each. So I'm just going to come here and now say food array dot for each. Okay, so what I'm basically saying here is that I want to do something for each of the food inside of the food array. Okay, so that makes sense, and that's one of the reasons I'm picking this, because it is very readable, like to you that you're actually making use of this video to learn. So for array food array dot for each of the food inside of the food array, do this thing with them. Okay, so basically there's also difference between for each and map and the for loop. So if you can look them, you can look them up. So the for each doesn't actually return anything; it will return undefined. The map will return a new array to you. Okay, so that's why we just want to use for each, and we are actually not returning anything. So we want to say for each of the food, we will now want to run a function. We are going to come here. Now we now want to actually understand how the HTML actually works. You have to understand how the each of these cards are being rendered. So if you can see now that these cards, they have their own container. You can see they have their own container. So we want to check how these are being structured. Okay, so to check this, what we need to do is go back to our HTML file, then you can copy any of these images, any of these food images. When you copy them, let's now go back to, okay, before we go back to our code, I think let me explain. So for each of these cards, we have a parent tag for them. So you can see as I'm highlighting them, this the editor is actually highlighting all other tags that are the same with this tag. So every of the tag has this, and now they have an image tag inside of them. So it will not highlight because they have different image names. So they have an image tag, they have a title, and they have a short description. So nothing changes here. They have the same properties. So which means we are good to go. So you can copy this guy now, copy just a single of them. Then what we want to do is that we now want to say, remember, we want to put them in a container. So this is a container. This is where we are doing that. So we are looping. We want to put them in a container. Then we now want to say HTML container plus equals to, we can do the plus equals to because this is a string, and we can also assign new value to it because we are using let. Okay, so you have to understand the difference between the variable declaration like const, let, and var. I have an article on that. If you, I'm also going to drop them in the comment section for you guys to check out later. So the difference between const and let, but basically let is just going to allow us to change the value of the HTML container. So that's basically it. So here now, I'm just going to do the backtick. So the backtick majorly is the first key before the one on your keyboard. So the backtick is what we are going to use. It might look like the normal code, but it is not. It is actually bent. So that's what we are going to use. And now that we have that, we now want to paste our HTML inside of here like this, and this is just going to be rendered to the UI the same way we are putting them here. Okay, so the backtick allow us to write multiple like strings inside of it, block like block strings or elements inside of it. You know, if you are using the normal quote now, if I paste this, you can see it doesn't actually work. So that's the reason we are making use of the backtick and not the quotes. Okay, so you can see the error. This guy is not showing any error. So that's basically the reason. So now that we are done with that, what we now want to do is let's actually go back to what we are getting from the back end. Honestly, if you are working with any endpoint, you actually have to understand the structure of this particular endpoint you want to lay your hands on. Okay, so when you want to work with any endpoint, you should read the documentation. If you don't know the developer, or maybe you just want to use a free API, and you don't know the person that wrote it, what you can do is get the response just like the way I have done. You can see the way I was displaying them one after the other to actually get to understand the structure of this endpoint. So when you come here now, you will notice that we have an object inside of each of the array, which is known as content. You can see we have content here, content property. We have another content property here. We have an ID for each of them. We have an image URL. We have a link. We have a name. So now you already have an idea of what you need and what we need in to render in our own UI. We need the image, we need the name, we need the content, and we need the link also, so that we will redirect to where the customer can actually purchase that particular food. Okay, so we can now come here and say that inside of this food, for each of these food, they have a property. So what are the properties they have? So you know, normally we can come here and do food dot name, food dot content. Any if you have an object, you can actually do this to have access to their property. Okay, but I'm just going to show you how you can destructure. Destructuring any object is not actually hard. What we are basically saying is that inside of this food there are this content, so pull them out. So what we want to do is we want to do const name content, We have what do we have again? Do we have an image? Yes, we have an image. And what do we have again? What do we need? Okay, the last thing we need is link. So I'm not just bringing this up from my head. I showed you earlier we are getting it from here. So we are getting it from the content, image, link, name, and stuff like that. So we now want to say all these are inside of the food. So, and where is this food coming from? It's coming from here. So this food that is here stands as an instance of uh, all the objects inside of this array. Okay. So this food is actually here. This is the food. Let's pick one. So this is the array that we have. This is the array. This is the food array. Okay. This is the food array. Now the food inside. This is the food array. Now for each of the food, this food now is what we have there. So each of these guys that we have here, they are the food that we are like specifying inside of the for each argument. Okay, so this parameter now serves as the food that we are making use of. So what we now want to do is we will replace any thing we want to change here. So this will serve as our title, and here we are going to say it is name. Okay, is a name from the back end. Okay, because from the back end they change the title to be name, and it also makes sense. So instead of just writing name, we won't write name because this we just render it as normal name in the UI. But what we want to use is a template literals. So this template literals just allows us to write JavaScript within our backtick. I said backtick allows us to write our normal HTML inside like block as a block. I showed an example then, but how do you now get to write your HTML inside of it? So it makes then that we need something that will allow us to write our JavaScript inside of the backtick, and that is why we are having our template literal. So instead of you doing concatenation plus minus stuff like that, you don't need that. So just make use of the template literals. So we can then do this is name. This is going to be our name. Okay, you can see there's no we don't have any issue yet. Okay, I can see some red here. So what am I doing wrong? Okay, what am I doing wrong? I think I broke something. Okay, I think I broke yeah, no. I think I broke something. Okay. All right, so that's what I broke. So I think it was when I was cleaning the code, that was why. Okay, so we are back. I just cleaned some syntax and we are back. We have the image. So for this image, I can come here, then my template literals, then I will do passing my image. So this image serves as the image URL that we are passing here. Okay, so this is the image URL that we are passing. So if I copy this guy now, I just want to make sure that if we are making use of an API for the first time, I want to explain better to you. So you can see when I visited this URL in my bar, you can see that I'm seeing an image here. So it makes sense that we are actually referring to an image URL in our JavaScript code. So you can see, so that's what that means. I hope that is helpful. So we pass the URL here. So for this alternative, we want to pass in the same thing as our name. So this auth means that when the image is broken, what do you want to render to the UI? So that's what the alternative means, alternative text. Okay. So for this paragraph, we just want to pass in our content. Okay. Our content. So our content our content is going to be content. Okay. All right, cool. So we have this. This is done. So this is the only thing we want to do here for now. Then the next thing to do is send the container to the UI. So don't forget that we have actually rendered this guy inside of here. So we've rendered this guy inside of here. So now how do we now send the information to all the information we've like designed? How do we now send them to the UI? So all the data that we've done are inside of this container. So every time this runs for each of the food, if it's going to do for the first one, it's going to save it here, then do for the second one, save it here. Okay. So at the end, it's just going to be like something like this inside of the container. So this is actually what is going to happen when the for each is going on. So I hope that is helpful. Now I think okay, the last thing we want to do is the link. Okay, we can come back to that later. So send the container to the UI. So we want to send this HTML container to the UI. Remember, we have access to our food container, which is the parent container of all the images. So we can come here and do .inner HTML. So this inner.html means that we want to actually send, we want to actually append, or let me say, we want to add a content to the food container. So the food container is actually an HTML tag, and now we want to add something in between or in between it. So I will just say this is the inner HTML of this particular parent tag. This is the inner HTML of this particular parent tag. So I hope that is very, very helpful to you guys. So now that we have this, I'll just send in the HTML container. Okay, you can actually name any of these variable the way you want, but I think this is just the way I feel like personally. I feel is more readable to the best of my knowledge and to help the viewers. Okay, so I've passed this guy in. So I think our job is done. Actually, our job is done. We've already call call function. This is the first function that is going to run, and we are calling the function here, right? So now let's go to our UI and hopefully this works. Okay, so let's refresh and let's see what we have. Oh, cool. So we have our images displayed to the UI. Okay, so you can see we have a couple of our images here. We have our images, and this is the second section. So basically, in the HTML code, we have the first grid section. As you can see, we have the first grid section here, and we have the second grid section. So I think the first grid section is what we actually pushed out. Okay, so we only push the first section out. We don't push this guy out. So what we can do is if we don't want this to be displayed, you can see the difference between them is these pictures are they are more like portraits. They are uh, like longer. They have more height than this guy that are just squared. Okay, so we can just come here. Since we don't need them, we can just remove them, right? Yeah, we can remove them. We will remove the images here. Okay, so and let's just remove the second section since we don't need it. Okay, we only need one section. Okay, so this is the section. So if I refresh now, you will see we won't have those images anymore. So okay, you can see we don't have those images anymore, but you will notice that the images are coming and then they are disappearing. You will see those long images are appearing first, then going, and that's because we don't have this guy here. So the reason I kept that is because I want to show you that the inner.html is actually changing the content of that particular food container, this particular content, whenever we use the inner.html. So this is the inner.html that is actually doing that for us. Okay, so since we don't have that, we don't need that. We can just bye bye, delete these guys, and then we have this empty guy over here. Okay. Oops, I think I pressed something. Okay. All right. So I think let me check. Is there Okay, so we don't have any question. We only have lovely section. Okay, I love the way you list out all things you do with comment. Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure there's no unanswered question. All right, so I'm happy you guys are not lost. So let's continue. So we have the food container.inner HTML. We've already achieved that, and we're seeing that in our UI. So the next thing we want to do is basically as a front end developer, you know we are front-end developers, yes, right? We are using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to achieve all this. Nothing like complex React.js, nothing like complex Vue.js. We are using our basic skill set to make this happen. So firstly, it depends on how you want to render things, but I feel that these contents are actually too much, and what we can do is we can just use the string method to slice it, then just show a little portion of the content. So this is basically how it works in most of all the projects you will see uh, elsewhere. So you can just slice it, then you render it when you want to view it. So what we can do here is that we'll just come to this content. So there's something we call slice. So basically what this slice does is it slices strings. Okay, so you know when you use your knife to slice strings or slice your bread to reduce it. So that's basically what we want to do. So we want to slice this string to, let's say, 020. That will be very small, but I want to show you. So if I come here and refresh, you can see we are waiting a little bit for this guy. Did I think I messed up. Okay, okay, it was my network. So you can see now that we have more, like, more cool content. But you will notice that these are not complete. They don't make perfect sentence. You can see apple cake might be what. So it's not actually complete. So as a front end developer, I want to make sure that you are actually passing information to the user. So, and this is not a complete information. So at least if it's going to cut, it should make a little sense. Okay, so what we are going to do is I'll just raise it up to 75. I think 75 should be cool. So it depends on the content and how many of these sentences you want them to see. Okay, so you can see I think this is much better because it looks like a single sentence. So you can say this is apple cake might be just the dessert you are searching for. Okay, so this is a complete sentence, and then we have the continuation here. Okay, so and it goes round to every other images that we have here. But one more thing I will add is that you might want to now come here because of maybe you want to tell the user that okay, these buttons are clickable. You want to tell them that they can click it. You can actually just add these three dots here. um is it called ellipsis, or what's it called? I can't really remember what the name is actually. But you can put the three dots, so which means that is a continuation. So it actually makes more sense now. You can see it makes more sense that this is continued. So these are those small things, little things that you can actually add to your project to make it look much more cool, more advanced. Okay, so since we have this guy, is more cool to me. And another thing you can do is you can just come here and do like read more, like newspaper. So I just want to give like use cases so that you won't run out of ideas you when you are building your own. So you can see read more, and maybe you want to make this read more inside a link. Okay, so you can put it inside a link. Like let's say you want to put it inside this link, then you can say this is our link, and close this guy, then close this tag. Okay, so we can come back here, then refresh. Let's see what we have. So you can see this is underlined, and this makes more sense to me because this is underlined, and which means that that will actually attract the user that okay, I can actually read more. So the first thing they come is they see the images, read the sentence, and they can see those underlines calling their ICs that come, you can click me, you can click me. And when they click it, it's going to take them to the full page of that particular food. Okay, so we can do this. And another way we can do is we can actually wrap our image, all our content inside an anchor tag. So I can come here and say a tag, right? So I want to bring this here. Okay, so now this is the parent container, this is the anchor tag, and this is this. And the reason I want to do that is because the user have to come here and click the readme. But what if I want them to be able to click this image, this title, anywhere they click on any part of the like any part of the card, it should just take them there rather than just coming to target the readme. So it depends on what you want. This is cool to me, but I just want to show you another use case. So I'll just hit save. Okay, I've done that. I have to refresh, so I'll show you the difference. So you cannot see that all of these are underlined, and it also makes sense to me. It actually still makes sense to me because you already know that I can click this to read more about this food. I can read this to read more about this food. So it actually makes a lot of sense depending on how you want to design it and maybe how you feel. So the two works for me. But I'm just going to stick with this, and then you can see we still have the three dot that we have there, and I feel it's still okay. Okay, so I think I've not been able to get the name of that three dot very well. I think you can search it online. I think it's just eclipses. I can't get the right name, but it's something like that. So now that we have this, this is done. We've achieved this, but there's one more thing we should look into before we wrap up. If I refresh now, you can see that we are having a blank page, which actually doesn't make sense to me. Like, because what if there's no, like, there's a delay in the network, and it takes a lot of time, a longer time for this guy to actually load. Okay, so what do we do? What do we tell the user? So what we want to do is we want to display a loader here that will actually display please wait, or maybe we are fetching your food, we are getting your food, or a loader. Okay, so I'll just demonstrate that with a text. Okay, so and you should remember that I'm doing all these in just inside of the W3 School Spaces editor. I've not opened my VS Code. You can see my VS Code there. It's just sleeping. I'm writing my code, and it's very fast. The way I'm making changes, I'm coming to the site directly and I'm seeing it. You can also click the link that I've sent earlier and check this out. So whatever I'm doing here is already live. Okay, it's already live. Okay, so I'll come back here now, and then I will go to the HTML file because we want to display loading. We can come here. Then we have two options. We have two options to do this. I can actually come here and do, like, let's say paragraph um, loading. Please wait. Okay, please wait. Then I close this guy here. So you can see even the editor is closing the tag for me once I just open the closing bracket. So please wait. And because the reason we can do this is, if you remember that our inner.html will change whatever we have in here. So it makes them that we want to display the loading tag first before the food fetches. So when the food fetches, we want to replace this guy with whatever we are bringing from the backend. So let's see what we are going to have. So if I refresh, you can see loading, please wait. So what I want to do is, let me increase that guy so we can see H3, and I will change it here. H3. So you can see how fast it is. I save and I refresh, and things are just changing, like changing fast. So you can see, please wait. You can see that we have what we needed. Okay. So, but the reason you might not want to go this route is because maybe you want to display error message when something goes wrong, when they are fetching the data. Maybe uh, there's no network, or the API, the server is down and they cannot fetch the food for the moment. What do you do? So what we want to do is, or what I would like to do is that we'll just come here, do our class, and put in message. So what do we want to show? This message will contain our loading message, is going to contain our error message, or any other message, maybe error message, success message, anything we want to display to the user. Okay, so if I come here and refresh, you are not going to see anything, but the tag is still there, but it's empty. So we have this class name of message. So if I come here, I would like to do that at the top. Okay, I'll fetch, I want to get access to that particular tag. So we are using class, we are not going to be using get element by ID. We just want to have access to the class name. So what I'm going to do is, I'll have my container and say message tag, because it is a tag and it's a message tag, so it makes sense. Message tag. I don't want to call it loading tag because we might want to use it for something else. So that's message tag equals to document dot query selector, because I'm using class name query selector. Then I'm going to specify, this is dot, just like the way you would do in your CSS. Then you say message. Cool, right? So we are having access to that message tag. So just like the way we get access to this guy and console.log it, so you can just apply what you learned there and see if we are getting it right. So now that we have this guy, what we now want to do is that immediately this function calls, immediately this the page loads, and we call this function. What we want to do is that we want to come to this guy and then say message tag dot inner HTML equals to what we wrote in the HTML bar, then loading, please wait. Okay, so loading, please wait. So let's go back here and then refresh. So you can see loading, please wait, loading, please wait, loading, please wait. But you can see we've run into another issue, and the issue is that we have this guy here, but our images are not displaying. Our images, and you can see now that we don't even have any error in our console. We don't have any error, which is not a problem from our end. Okay, so let me check the comment section again. Okay, so when you are good, you are good. Okay, all right. So I don't think there's any question. Okay, all right. So I can continue. All right. So what we now want to do is that we want to tell this loader to stop when the images are being fetched. So immediately we have access to the images, then that means that our function has completed its own task of fetching the images. So what we want to do is we now want to come here, fetching. This is where we are fetching. Then we've got the response here. Then finally we got the response here. So what we want to do is that we now want to set the message tag dot inner HTML to equals to um nothing. We just want to leave it empty, right? We want to leave it empty because since there's no, we don't have anything doing, loading is stopped, so we don't have any issue. Okay, so I think we are cool there. So basically the reason I'm putting it inside of this dot then is because if something goes like if everything goes well, this dot then we work. But if something goes wrong, I'm going to show you later. Okay, I don't want to overfeed us at this stage. I just want to show the success part, then I'll come to the error part where we are going to be displaying the error messages. Okay, so let's make it save and hopefully everything goes right. Okay, so yeah, cool. So you can see what I'm talking about. When the images have been fetched, we have to now say that the loading should stop. We are now like setting the loading please wait to an empty string, and then the we are putting the inner.html of that of the new for each of the food, the design of each food, we are now putting it there. So basically the for each we do for this guy first, put it in the HTML container, do for this guy, put it inside the HTML container, and do for all of these images, and then send them to the UI. And it's very, very fast, very, very fast, just like W3Schools Spaces. Okay. All right. So now that we have this, and this is nice, but there's one thing I want to refactor here. You will notice that we are doing this sources inside of this response, but it makes sense because we are calling another function here, display result, or let me say, okay, let me put design result. Okay, design food result, because this function, this display food, that is actually designing each of the cards and sending them to the UI. So which means that when we stop the loader here, and if something goes wrong here, that means that like we've already said it's a successful year. So why are we now still saying like we have a problem here? The sources and the loading are stopped, but the images are not displaying. Let me show you what I mean. So if I come here and let me say that, okay, let me refresh forward. Let me show you. Okay, so you can see that. Okay, let me bring this up. Let me bring this up. I think that will be cool. um okay, I think I got what's wrong, because I told you that that makes sense, because I told you that the dot then will only run if this function is successful. Okay, yeah, that's true. This will only run when it is successful. So this block will not run if there's any issue. Okay, so that's why we are not having this, because there's a problem here now, so everything has to stop, for everything has to stop running. Okay, so that makes sense. But what I want to do is I just want to put this guy here. I want to stop the loading when this guy has been called. So it makes sense that when it has been fetched, it is still loading, and when it's displaying it, that means everything goes well. Okay, that means everything goes well. Okay, so over here will be stop loading notification. Okay, so I feel you can still put it anywhere you want. So let me fix this guy, but it actually makes sense that we want to stop loading when the food are being designed into the UI. Okay, so this guy is the food container in the HTML. Okay, cool. All right, so the next thing we want to do is, I think we have to refresh, then see everything is going on where. Okay, cool. So everything is going on where we have our loader. Yeah, cool. So this is nice. And one cool thing we did also is this link. Where is it leading to? So if I click this guy now, you can see that it's not actually loading anywhere, and that makes sense because I don't think we've actually passed the link. Okay, so we've not actually passed the link. So what we can do is we can come here and pass our link. Yeah, okay. So pass our link. So this is what I forgot to do, and this link is coming from here, and the link is actually coming from the property of each of the food. Okay, so if I click on this, any of these, I have to refresh first. So if I click on any of these, so it actually takes me to where I can actually order this food. So my own website, this website we are building is just an intermediary between the baker of this food, the baker of this cake, and people that wants to buy it. Okay, so I can just render some cool designs to in my own website, then just push people back here. Okay, so you can just show people that okay, I have a website you can just get your cake from. It's going to redirect you to where you can actually buy it. So you can see the food is going to be ready in 45 minutes. People like you are producing value to people around you. So this is one of the way to like put your skills into use. Okay. So now this is a value. Okay. I anybody can come here and select food and then buy food. Okay. So another thing we want to do is we don't want people to actually leave our own website because the moment they come here, the moment they come here now, they might say, oh, I love this food. I love. They might find another thing that is more interesting, and they will now forget about your site. You can see these people have the original food here. Okay, they might forget about your site. But one trick you can actually do is that you can make use of the anchor tag target, the target attributes. I believe everyone should know that in the HTML anchor tag target. But if you don't know about that, you can go to W3 School. This is what I usually do. W3 School is one of my daily stuff. If you go to W3 School and do anchor tag target, okay, so you can see W3 School will always be the first. Okay, so when you get this, you can see how it is. So you can see target blank. This is what I need. I just have to lift it and come here and then put this target here. So when I put this target here now, what the target blank means that it's just going to open on another browser, right? It's just going to open on another browser. So the target attributes specify where to open the link document. Okay, so that's basically what this is doing for us. Okay, and you can read more about it. You can see the blank is going to open in a new document tab. You can go and read more about it. I'll just drop this in the comment section for you guys um, to go check if you are following. All right. So now that we've done this, there's one more thing that we need to do because it is always a good practice to always add something to when you are making use of blank. You have to add the no ref, anchor no ref. Okay. So there's something we call the anchor target no ref. Okay. I think I have to put the for blank. Okay, yeah. So you can see now the no opener, no ref stuff. So you just have to you can add this. You can always copy this anytime, but you always have to add it whenever you are opening a new tab from another website. And the reason is because of security. Because when you are opening a new tab from another website, probably the site you are going to might have access to where you are being redirected from. So, and this might cause like security, like privacy breach or data breach, and you don't want that. So these are little things that you have to know about the anchor tag. So you can paste this here. So whenever you are using blank, you want to do the relationship between this particular website to the another website is the like no opener, no referrer. So we are not referring, we are not doing anything. So to read more on this, I think there are a lot of articles on Ashnode. You can just check it up. You will understand better. Okay, so we can come here now and refresh. You can see we have our loading state, makes sense. Then if you click on this, you can see we are opening on a new browser, and now we have access to this. So even if they are done here, and they can select whatever they want, they will say, oh, let me check more from here. So okay, I still want this guy. so they don't have to be clicking the back button or start looking for your URL. So these are the little things, the basics. So you can see that the basics of HTML and CSS are very, very important when you are studying them. So you should take them much seriously. So now our user can go back, click another one, and still have access to our website. So I feel I've been able to like show you guys how this is done and how you can use the Fetch API. Everything we've been doing since morning has been on W3Schools Spaces, and I've really loved it as a developer. It's very cool. Look at the UI, everything. I'm coding directly from my browser. You can see the light mode if I want to. Dark mode, I'm a big fan of dark mode. So anything I want, I can actually do it. So before we wrap up, let me just show you the last one about drag and drop. So let's say we want to change the image of this guy. Yeah. So I'll show you two ways you can actually do it. And this will be a tip for you guys that maybe you don't know this actually exists. So if you go to your index.html, if you have a GitHub account, one thing you can do if you don't want to use, like maybe you need your image but you don't want to upload any image to a browser, to your document, but you just want to use another image, right? So let's look for where the chef is. Okay, this is the chef. So what I can do here is that since I don't have my image in my W3 school spaces yet, what I can do is I can go to https://github.com/ my username on kube143.png. So I'll change the alternative name. Don't forget, that's good for accessibility. So I can come here now, refresh this guy, so you can see my image here. So where is this image coming from? So if I open this image, right click on any image, open a new tab, you will see it's actually coming from, okay, this is encrypted. So what I will just do is I'll copy this guy that I have here and I will paste it here. Okay, so you can see that I'm actually getting it from YouTube. I mean from GitHub rather, not YouTube. I'm getting it from GitHub rather. Okay, so just change your own username, change my own username with your own, then you have access to that image. So this is very useful. Maybe you want to you are working with maybe like GitHub API, and maybe you want to render all the contributors of your project, or maybe you now ask them to submit their GitHub username, then you want to fetch their picture from there. Okay, or you are working on a project, you don't have the picture of those people, and you don't want to ask, and you just want to render picture. So if they have avatar, it's going to show and stuff like that. Okay, so that's just a bonus for this session. So another way to do that is, which I will show you now, is I can come here. I will just write. Let me create another folder for my image. Then I'll create the folder. This is the image. So what I want to do is I want to just drag and drop my image here. So what I will do is I'll come here, check um, my images here. I think I have some images for myself here. Okay, I'll just select any of my images here. So you can see the image is being uploaded. I can still come and if I open my folder, my explorer, what I can do is, let me just bring this guy here. From the download, I can search for my image. Okay, I can drag and drop any image. Okay, you can see I can drag and drop. And if you have a folder, let's say you have a folder that maybe you already have the project on your PC, and you don't want to be uploading them one by one, just drag the folder inside of your spaces where you want it to be. The image, the W3 school spaces are going to extract all the files there for you, and you are going to see them like this. So what we want to do is we want to rename this file. So you can see, you can also preview if you want to preview image. If you click preview image, it's going to show it to you with a couple of minutes, and it's going to show it. So, but that's not what we want to do. We just want to rename. We want to now do, this is Uncle Big Bay.png. Then I'm going to rename that. Okay, so you can see unclebigbay.png. So that's my image. So I can now come back to, let's go back to the index.html, open it up. Then I can go to where the chef is. Okay, then I can replace this with the normal HTML, because you don't want to fetch images from elsewhere, because you know uh, it might slow down your page. If that server is like busy, it might slow down your page, so you want to serve it yourself, and you don't want it to be broken also. So you want to do image slash unclebigbay.jpg. Okay, I think that's it. So I want to reduce this to, like, let's say 600. Yeah. So because I feel this guy is too big. So loading state, which is really cool, and now you can see that we have my image here. So you can get any template, do what you want to do with it. You know, I got my template, and now I focus on my JavaScript, because it is JavaScript I want to work on. I already understand how the HTML and CSS work, and I want to work more on my JavaScript. Then I get a template, then I wrote my function, fed the API, did whatever I want to do, then render it to the UI. So I focus on JavaScript, and I know I'm working with JavaScript. Not that I will start working on HTML and CSS for 2 days, then start picking up JavaScript. Okay, so I hope this is helpful to you guys. You can pick up any resources you want on W3 School, and to learn W3 School CSS is very, very simple. You can just go to W3 School CSS, um, uh, W3 CSS. Then you can see this is the home. It's very, very simple, like very, very simple. And you see some template. There are a lot of template for you guys to use, that you can use. You can even use this for your customer, maybe a shopping cart. Maybe you have a family friend that wants to just have a website for their cake, for their photograph, anything for their pets, anything you want to do, you can just get this, and it is very, very responsive. So if I check the responsiveness of this page now, you will see that it is very responsive. So you can see this is the mobile view, and this is the desktop view. So you can see it is very, very responsive and very cool. So we did this with only JavaScript, and this is very cool. Okay, so I think that will be all from me now. So moving on to the courses, where you guys are going to, all thanks to the W3 School CEO. He wants you guys to have something, a course certificate, but there is something you must achieve before you can get this certificate. So you can take all these courses and their certificates, anyone you want, that you feel that you know you are proficient in, right? So basically, if you want the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you have to sign up on W3 School Spaces, build a project. You can use their templates, do some things with it. You can use this API that I've used. You can do something, anything you want to do. You can write from scratch. Maybe you have another page before. You can paste it there, then come up with something. Then I'm going to be sending out like a Google form to collect all the data. Then we assess all whatever you submitted. Then we can check it out. But if you feel maybe you cannot write your PHP there, you cannot write Python or any other thing there, you can just still submit your project, maybe a link to the project, what it does, and stuff like that. So if you confirm that at least you have a basic understanding of what maybe Java, HTML, CSS, front end, back end, data analytics, you can see these things are very, very expensive. But because you are showing interest, we also want to encourage and help every one of us in learning. So I feel this is really going to help. You can add it to your CV, put it on your LinkedIn. Just prove that you know this, and the certificate is going to be made available to you guys. So I hope you are able to learn from this. I'm going to send out all the links in the comment section, so you can still have access to them. You can reward this video. If there's anything you don't understand, you can chat me up. I can explain again, or even write an article on it. So I hope I'm able to help you guys. So let me check if there's anything in the comment section. Okay. All right. The deadline for submission, submission will just be, let's say, by Monday, because this is weekend. Tomorrow is Sunday. So let's say by Monday, Monday evening. So I think that will do. So if you have any question, You can put your question down, or you can also put your question in the comment section. Okay, so let me look at the previous comments if there's any question to be answered. Okay, so we're having messages. Okay, someone is asking that how long does the verification email take to hit my inbox? It takes, it depends on your network. It takes less than 1 minute to enter. So yeah, someone already answered not so long. Cool. We are getting some messages. This is amazing. Thank you for joining in. Awesome. Okay. Great session. Thank you. And thanks to W3 Schools for providing these resources for us to use. I'm only just trying to bring it closer to you guys so you can have access to it. So, lovely session. Thank you. Someone said, I love the way you list out all you do with the comments before doing them. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, someone said, wow, well done, sir. Yeah, thank you for joining in, and I'm happy to be of help to you guys. So when you are good, you are good. Well done. Thank you so much for the compliments. Okay, I think I have seen the solution to my problem. Thanks, Uncle Bibi. I'm happy, and thanks to W3 School for providing those solutions. Okay, so I think I've answered all the question, and I feel that you guys are really happy with what you've seen, and it is helpful. So someone said, yes, so you've done justice to it. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for joining in. I believe that we've learned a lot today, and it's really the video. Like I think the session is around 1 hour 36 minutes, though it's very long, but I feel we are able to understand some things. So if there's no question, I feel we can call it a day. So bye bye guys, and see you on my tech blog. Bye bye.